The bastard holding the feeder filled with poison gives our boy a crooked smile and apologizes for what he's about to do. As soon as the servant tries to put the nipple into Yisak's mouth, the poor guy dodges it, twisting his face left and right. The servants start to panic, not knowing why the saint is refusing the feeding. Well, Yisak clearly has his reasons. After finally becoming human, he doesn't want to risk dying by eating something that looks suspicious as hell. Besides, he wants to figure out how the hell he even became human in the first place. This is when the servants call him Izak, the same name everyone in the underworld and the gods used to address him. Yisak is absolutely spooked as the words sink in. He remembers that Izak is just the other pronunciation of his real name, Yisak. Even the gods used it when they sealed him away. Since they used the wrong name, that's probably the only reason he wasn't sealed away, and instead, he ended up reincarnated into a different body with the same name. This brings a wicked yet joyful smile over his face to think that those idiots failed to seal him away. The servants take this opportunity and thrust the feeder's nipple into his mouth. Both servants do their best to keep the feeder in place, but the baby is too strong and keeps resisting. Eventually, Izak relaxes and stops struggling. The taste he's getting is like drinking vegetable juice, which means it's not poison. But with how awful this juice tastes, he'd honestly rather take his chances with poison. Then he starts feeling something ominous entering his body. It seems like there really was some kind of toxic substance mixed into the feed. The scene transitions to the Holy Empire Hela's central temple. There, we see an old coot smirking, feeling satisfied that Izak, who is supposed to be one of the saint candidates, must be pushing up daisies by now. At that moment, the man of authority, the emperor of the Holy Empire Hela, Alexander Heathcliff Hela, crosses paths with this old coot, the bishop. Alexander is actually visiting the temple in order to see the saint candidate of the Eshua household, who, of course, is our boy. The bishop and his disciples don't forget to bow their heads in the presence of absolute authority. Alexander then proceeds to question the old man about the reason for his visit. The old coot fakes this smile and claims he has come to greet the saint candidate of House Eshua, and he is sure that the emperor is also here for that very reason. As they're catching up, someone suddenly shouts out loud, grabbing everyone's attention. The reporter is here to report something regarding Izak, and given the urgency in the guy's tone, it's clear that it's something bad. The old coot feels a surge of happiness inside as he considers that his plan must have worked. Alexander and his entourage of knights rush to the room where Izak is. But contrary to everyone's fears, it's nothing serious. Turns out, Izak's belly has simply gotten plump after chugging down all that vegetable juice. The servants reveal that Izak eats extremely well. He's already downed 15 bottles of that tasteless juice. As adorable as this news might be, it's equally devastating for the old bastard. The fact that this kid is still alive after drinking 15 bottles of poison is absolutely messing with him. To understand how our boy managed to survive this absurd amount of poison, let's rewind a bit. Back to when he had his first bottle of that tasteless vegetable juice. The moment his body started absorbing the juice, he felt something ominous seeping into him. But soon, Izak realized that it actually was a holy poison. A devastating toxin designed to destroy the holy power of clergy members. It doesn't have any immediate effects, but since it's still poison, it becomes deadly if the body absorbs too much of it. However, this poison is made from demonic mana, and as a former demon king, this stuff is basically a perfect snack for Izak. To him, it's like marijuana. He could smoke this all day, and it would taste just as good no matter how many times he had it. The moment he finished his first bottle, Izak immediately threw a tantrum, demanding another one. The servants had no choice but to give in, especially since their mission was to make sure he consumed enough of the poison. So, they were more than happy to keep feeding him. But Izak wasn't complaining either. He was just as happy to absorb all that demonic mana for himself. This poison helped him tap into a realm beyond the conscious mind, commonly known as the unconscious world. And deep within that realm, at its very core, he wanted to create his mana core. He then starts the process, and a ball of fire ignites in his hands. Next, he starts adding the mana he absorbed from the poison into the mana core. Since he needs a mana core to use magic later, he decides to prepare it first. But his experiment goes terribly wrong when the mana explodes. Once the explosion subsides, what he sees is far from normal. A mana core is supposed to be one of the 3 primary colors, but in his case, it's white. And he has no clue why. The color isn't the real problem, though. What concerns him more is the sheer, overwhelming power radiating from this tiny core that isn't even fully developed yet. As terrifying as this might seem, it actually makes our boy crack a smile. This is a true blessing in disguise, something far beyond his expectations. The thought of such terrifying power being crammed into this small body is exhilarating. Not only that, but if he hones himself properly, he can't even begin to comprehend what kind of monster he'll eventually become. As he stands on the verge of reaching new heights, he reflects on his past, a life where he was forced to die like a pathetic loser who had accomplished nothing. All he ever wanted was to survive, and that deep desire led him to reincarnate as a bald skeleton. He worked tirelessly as a demon, creating original buffs and skills through sheer effort. And now, it seems those spells have been inherited by this tiny body as well. While Izak was lost in his subconscious turmoil, the two servants started to panic. For a moment, they thought the kid might be dead since he hadn't moved an inch for a while. But then, out of nowhere, Izak lifted a finger toward the ceiling and, after cranking up his volume to the max, he began to demand another bottle of poison. Back in the present, Alexander and his knights are relieved to see that things aren't as bad as they feared. Even our boy is relieved, as he almost thought he was about to get assassinated. Thankfully, nothing bad actually happened. Well, he might not realize it, but bro was literally about to get assassinated. Then, Izak notices the bishop staring at him with a look of pure contempt. This makes our boy wonder, why in the hell is this dude looking at him like that? He thinks perhaps he ate too much, which is earning him these unnecessary glares. But he quickly shakes off the thought and decides to simply act like a kid. He doesn't want to overreact or act unnaturally in a way that might attract unwanted attention. So, he keeps playing the role of the clueless child while the old man fumes with barely contained rage. As far as the old coot is concerned, Izak should be on the floor, coughing up blood, struggling for his last breath. Instead, this little brat is grinning from ear to ear, almost as if he's doing it just to mock him, and that is tweaking the hell out of this old man.